Hi there, welcome to Long Distance Review, and on this new episode I'm going to be looking at the album from Cyhra called No Halos in Hell. I haven't done a review for the last couple of weeks, mainly because there's nothing really been released that's piqued my interest levels. And I'll be honest, Cyhra was never on my radar as an album I was ever going to look at or even listen to. But, well, I'll come on to the reasons why I'm doing it in a minute. A little background with Cyhra: they are a Swedish heavy metal band and they've been dubbed a supergroup. They were formed back in 2017, and this is their second album. Their first album was called Letters to Myself. And the reason they are dubbed a supergroup is because of the personnel involved. You've got Jake Lundberg on vocals. He was in a band called Amaranthe. You've got Jesper Strombold on rhythm guitar. He's ex-In Flames. You've got Alex Landenberg on drums. He was in Annihilator. And then you've got, I'm going to pronounce this name wrong, Huge Voloverta on lead guitar and bass on this album, and he was in a band called Shining. Now, that's the reason they're called a supergroup, and supergroup has connotations with it. Let's say for every great supergroup like Down, you've got some real horrors out there like Hollywood Vampires, Chicken Foot, Prophets of Rage. So supergroup doesn't always mean it's going to be great, but with the talents on show here, I thought this is going to be great. I was a massive In Flames fan. Well, I still am a massive In Flames fan. I thought their last album was okay, actually, compared to some of their other work of recent times. So I thought, how can this album fail? Onto this album then. The album is called No Halos in Hell, and it opens up with a track called Out of My Life, which sounds like recent In Flames material, basically. It's got this sort of pacey melody with this soaring vocal on the chorus. If you thought modern In Flames was a bit wet, you preferred all the older In Flames stuff, the heavier stuff. And so if you thought the more melodic, pop sort of sounding In Flames was a bit wet for you, then prepare to get drenched on this one, because this is quite light, let's say. You'd think with the personnel on show here, as I mentioned, that this would have a bit more metal in the heavy metal terminology, but really it's very light and melodic. It veers on sort of saccharine and cheesy at times. And if that's your thing, then maybe Cyhra could be for you. But if you're looking for interesting and original music, then look elsewhere, I think. This lacks any serious punch. It's okay for the first couple of tracks, let's say, but it's got this mid-paced, family-friendly formula that it just follows throughout the album. There's no denying that Lundberg has great vocals, especially on like the title track, which I think is the second or third song on it, where his voice really soars on the chorus. But it's also light, so powerless. It's too nice. And by sort of track 4, I was pretty bored of it. It's very formulaic. It veers into cheesy sort of territory at times, and it's really hard to take seriously when it drops into it. The songs follow patterns, they all have the sort of intro. The pace will drop off for the verse, and then the soaring chorus will come in. A song like I Am the One has this real pummeling drum intro and a lead guitar that Iron Maiden will be proud of. But then it drops back into this mid-paced melody, and then the chorus comes in. There's a song called Bye Bye Forever, which is absolutely awful. It's this pop song that reminds me of like a boy band. You can imagine NSYNC doing it. It really is that bad. And then I have to be reminded that this is a guy, Jesper Strombold. He was on Clayman. He was rhythm guitarist on Only for the Week. It's this guy. It makes me almost think that the modern In Flames stuff isn't that bad. Tracks start to become really skippable by the halfway mark, and I just can't take it anymore. I just can't take another mid-paced melody and soaring chorus, but then here's another. And then you know at some point in time there's going to be a ballad coming in. You know there's going to be a ballad. I was expecting it right at the end of the album. They threw me a curveball and put it in at track 7, right in the middle, make it the centerpiece of the album. Has this awful piano intro into this ballad called Lost in Time, which the lyrics seem very stereotypical and obvious. And I know it's heartfelt, and I know this means something to the guys. I'm sure it does. I'm sure it's written from a place that's actually true to them, but it just doesn't seem it to me. It's hard to take it seriously when it's like that. There's a song called King's Tonight, which actually has a bit of crunch to the guitar tone finally. And they sort of added electronics on that track and make it feel a bit has a little sort of baby metal feel to that track, actually, I realised. But really, it's a bit too little too late by that point of the album. And I'm sort of praying that every song doesn't just follow suit, but they all do. The only one that's got anything different to it really is a song called Blood Brothers, and that's mainly down to the drum work on the verses. And it has this guitar tone on the song Blood Brothers that's just ripped straight out of Iron Maiden. And considering the song is called Blood Brothers, and Iron Maiden did a song called Blood Brothers, it's a bit coincidental to me. There's another song later on as well I had to mention called Hit Me, which has a chorus I can't get through without laughing. Maybe this is just me. I think if you're a fan of something like Sabaton, then you will get a kick out of this, maybe. It's, maybe, I don't want to stereotype it and say it's Euro metal, but I know that this kind of stuff really does go down well in like Germany and Scandinavia, so maybe it doesn't translate over here as well. It's just so clean, it's so polished, it's so saccharine and cheesy. There's just no edge to it. There's no character to it, really. Maybe, like I say, this is just not for me. I've actually seen some very good reviews for it out there, so, and you can't fault the musicianship on it. Like I say, the vocals are great, the musicianship itself is fine, but it's boring at the end of the day, and there's nothing worse to me than when music becomes boring. And this is very skippable, very boring, very dull, and that's bad. Anyway, let me know what you think of the album. Maybe it's just me who doesn't like this. Go check it out. It's called Cyhra, by a band called Cyhra. It's called No Halos in Hell. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll be back soon with another review. Thanks very much.